Welcome into Pro Football Daily. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thank you so much for tuning in here on Wednesday, June 21st. Today we are talking about the Detroit Lions. Can they rule the North in 2023? That's the question we'll be tackling today. If you're enjoying the content here on Pro Football Daily, please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you do not miss a show on here. The Detroit Lions, aka the Fighting Dan Campbells, they have truly taken on the personality of their head coach, personality of grit, hard work, determination. Got off to a really rough start in 2022, came storming back, finished 9-8, almost made the playoffs. So we're asking the question, can they become the division champions in the NFC North in 2023, overtake the Minnesota Vikings? Looking at this team on the offensive side of the ball, they were 5th in offensive DVOA in 2022. A really, really good offense from pretty much every angle, no matter how you look at it. One of the very best offensive lines in the game today across the board. There's talent there. That's where it starts, right? They're big, they're physical, they're athletic. They can do a lot of different things with that O-line up front. And having such a talented O-line allows you to protect your quarterback at a high level, allows you to open up running lanes for those backs out of the backfield. And speaking of the quarterback, Jared Goff, he can make most of the throws you're looking for in the NFL. Throws a very catchable ball. He can hit all the perimeter stuff you're looking for over the middle as well. Not great under pressure, right? Not a very mobile quarterback, not a playmaking type quarterback, but a guy who gets the job done. His calling card is efficiency. Getting the ball out on time and accurately is what Jared Goff does at a really high level. And again, not a big time playmaking quarterback. He can make plays here and there, maneuvering the pocket, stepping up, hitting the guy outside of structure, but that's not what you're going to see for the most part from Jared Goff. It's going to be all about efficiency within structure, and his adjusted completion percentage in 2022 of 77.8, 5th best in the league last year. A guy who really, really highly efficient for the Detroit Lions. Tremendous offensive play design and scheme by Ben Johnson. They don't run a ton of different stuff, but what they do run, they run it well. I can't believe really that he did not receive a head coaching job in 2023. I know that he interviewed for some jobs around the league, but decided to stay in Detroit. So they got really lucky that they got Ben Johnson back. They have a lot of spread concepts. They run some play action looks, of course, a lot of gap running, a little bit of zone mixed in as well in 2022. Looking at their backfield, they brought in David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, replacing Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. They think they're clearly upgrading there. They're definitely faster and more versatile there, in my opinion. Still hate to see Jamal Williams go. He was really kind of like the heart and soul of that offense, kind of the physical embodiment of what that team was last year, and a touchdown machine on top of it, obviously. Again, this is a team that ran a lot of gap stuff, a lot of using their backs out of the backfield, DeAndre Swift. But with these new guys, especially Jahmyr Gibbs, I would really like to see some more zone running, some more outside zone looks. You want to get him in space. You want to get him attacking defenders on the boundary of the football field. Jameson Williams, looking at their receiving group, big time bummer that he's going to be out for the beginning of the season with that suspension on gambling. But unbelievable talent Jameson Williams brings to the field. When he gets back, he is going to add a speed element to this offense, a downfield element, a guy that can be a 3-level threat and really take the top off the defense from anywhere on the field. But no Jameson Williams, no big problem, in my opinion, early on, because you do have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is a slot superstar. He proved that last year. You still have Josh Reynolds, who has great rapport with Jared Goff dating back to their days in Los Angeles. Added Marvin Jones to the roster, who's still a very high-quality possession receiver at this point in his career, coming over from Jacksonville. Antoine Green, you got in the draft out of UNC. I think he has a chance to make it in the league. They did lose DJ Chark, of course, who did bring that speed element, that verticality to the offense. But again, I think once you get Jameson Williams back, you'll be just fine there. They added Sam Laporta, who's a talented receiving tight end, interesting there. They had one of the better tight ends in the league, overall tight ends, in TJ Hawkinson. They traded him inside their division to the Minnesota Vikings, the team that they're trying to overtake in the division this year. But they didn't want to pay TJ Hawkinson the big bucks, decided to get cheaper, get younger, address it in the draft in the second round by adding Sam Laporta out of Iowa, a guy who has played receiver in his past, has great receiving chops. I think he will be able to make an impact for them as a receiver. They have a couple other tight ends that can contribute as well, both as blockers and receivers. So I think you're feeling good about your overall group of skill position players. When you look at the backfield, David Montgomery, I think he brings a little bit more balance to the position than Jamal Williams did. I think Jahmyr Gibbs obviously brings an incredible speed element to the position. You've got Amon-Ra, you've got Marvin Jones, Josh Reynolds, and Jamison Williams coming back, and then Sam Laporta and these other tight ends. I think there's no question that this Lions offense is going to be really good. They were really good in 2022. I think they're only going to be better with another year of continuity, with more firepower in the backfield, with Jamison Williams coming back. Goff, he's not a top-tier quarterback in this league, but he's on time, he's accurate, and he plays behind a great offensive line, perhaps the best offensive line in the game today, and again has those skill position players to really get the job done at a high level. I think defense is where it's really interesting for the Detroit Lions. You love Aaron Glenn, who's their defensive coordinator. He's a fiery guy. John Fox, a senior defensive assistant. His experience, I think, is going to be really valuable for them as well. Just as a sounding board, a guy who's been there, done that, knows what things look like in this league. They run a lot of man coverage, and they like to blitz. That's just kind of what they do. That's their personality. And that should come as no big surprise with Dan Campbell being the head coach. They didn't have all the pieces to get the job done in that regard in 2022, especially on the back end. I thought that their cornerback play as a whole just wasn't quite good enough to line up man-to-man and get the job done consistently. They shipped off Jeff Okudah. They brought in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who's going to play some hybrid nickel safety for them. Emmanuel Mosley and Cameron Sutton, who will both be playing outside for them, it looks like. I love their young safeties with Kirby Joseph and Fatu Melifonwu. Brian Branch coming in, who is another guy that can play nickel and safety for you. They still have Tracy Walker as well, who is a really strong veteran presence for them in the back end of that room. I think they have a better chance to do what they want to on the back end in 2023, but I also think they have a lot of versatility that they've added with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, with Brian Branch, who I think was just one of the very best value picks in the draft. I had him as a top 10 overall prospect. The Lions got him in the second round of the draft. Absolutely love that for them. Versatility on the back end with where these guys can line up. I think you might see a little bit more diversity in what they're doing from a scheme perspective back there. But again, I think they're going to be aggressive with the blitzing. They're going to want to run a lot of man coverage. That's what they did last year. I think they'll continue doing that moving forward. We'll see how it plays out with these new additions. Up front, I think we'll see. They have a very solid off-ball linebacker group with Alex Anzalone. They brought in Jack Campbell, too, in the first round, a guy who has incredible size and length at the linebacker position. He's a really good tackler, really good overall player, really instinctive. They have Rodrigo as well, Malcolm Rodriguez, who they drafted in day 3 of the draft last year, who came in, and he's another guy, kind of a physical embodiment of what Dan Campbell wants this team to be. And so is Aiden Hutchinson, who they took with the second overall pick in 2022. They want him to be the cornerstone of that defense at edge. And I think all indications are, based on what he did in 2022 as a rookie, that he is going to be that guy. He is a leader. He is an excellent pass rusher. He's a good run defender. He's got a nice bag of tricks, not a one-trick pony at all, not the guy that's just was kind of coming out that people thought, oh, he's just a power player. No, he's got a lot of tools in his bag, and I think he's going to continue to improve moving forward. James Houston was kind of a surprise coming onto the scene for them last year as a rookie late-round pick pass rusher, but he's really exciting as well. You've seen the ghost move. You've seen a lot of different quality pass rush from James Houston. They have Aleem McNeil in the middle, another player that I've been really high on since he came out of NC State. Big physical defensive tackle. They've got Charles Harris, Kaminsky as well. They've got some guys up front. They've got some dudes that can get different things done for them. I think it'll be really interesting. Can Levi Onwuzurike get healthy? Can Romeo Okwara get back to his old self after the Achilles that he suffered in 2021? I think when you talk about those guys, they could really elevate the ceiling and the floor if they're able to get healthy. Because on Wuzurike, he's a guy that has the talent to become an interior penetrator, but he's got to be able to stay healthy. Missed all of 2022. Romeo Okwara can be a really solid edge for you as well, but again, got to be healthy. We'll see how that plays out. On special teams, Jack Fox, pretty good punter. Badgley, excellent inside of 40, but not good beyond the 40-yard line as their kicker. His competition is Riley Patterson, who the Jaguars had last year. Patterson goes back to the Lions this year with a conditional future pick. Patterson has some of the same issues as Badgley with the distance, but I think his distance issues are more beyond 50 than beyond 40. So I think maybe Riley Patterson, the young kid who did make a game-winning kick in the wild card round of the playoffs last year for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think he'll have a shot to win that job. Khalif Raymond is a very, very good return man. So I think special teams-wise, you're going to see a team that can get the job done in the third area of the game. But it all comes down to, for me, how far can Jared Goff take this team? You saw him take the Rams to the Super Bowl several years back. I believe that this team can win the NFC North, and I'm going to predict, in fact, that they will overtake the Vikings in the NFC North this year. I don't think that they are going to win the conference, but I could see them getting to the divisional round, depending on the matchup, maybe even make it to that conference title game. We'll see how it all plays out. I just think this team, they have become a lot more complete over the course of this offseason. They added speed on offense. They are really dangerous with Ben Johnson's ability to scheme things up with Jahmyr Gibbs, with Jamison Williams, with Amon-Ra St. Brown and David Montgomery. I think there's just so much talent on the offensive side of the ball, a lot more talent on the defensive side of the ball this year, brought in via free agency and via the draft. I like what they've been doing. I'm excited for what they've got, but I acknowledge it's just tough to win at the highest level in the NFL in the playoffs without the elite level quarterback. And Jared Goff, again, for as efficient as he is, for as accurate as he is as a quarterback within this scheme, I just don't think he really elevates the team. Like the plays outside of structure that you see Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, these types of guys making, Jared Goff just does not bring that to the table, and it's tough to get by at the highest level in the NFL in February, late in January, without the ability to extend plays on a high level. I do have a question about their draft, right? Will eschewing positional value in the first round come back to bite them? I'm not sure. I think it's a really fun science experiment by Brad Holmes, their GM. I love both the guys they took, and Jahmyr Gibbs at running back and Jack Campbell at linebacker, but I had both of them as second round values, right? So we'll see how that plays out. I think it's going to be really interesting. I think they could have potentially added guys at more high value positions that would have made sense in the first round. Hendon Hooker, they drafted later on, quarterback out of Tennessee. He's an older prospect, but I think he's a perfect fit for them long term if this offense rolling after Ben Johnson becomes a head coach. We'll see how that plays out. But for 2023, I think the Detroit Lions, they are going to be a really tough team to beat. Again, they finished incredibly hot in 2022, a team that has a really good offense, a defense that to me looks much improved. I can't wait to see how it plays out for them in 2023, but I am predicting that the Detroit Lions will rule the North.